relationship, and it's bigger than basketball, and that's the one thing we all this year we trusted him in the games he didn't play and the load management stuff, and no one ever questioned it. We made we didn't.
That is questioning.
Huh?
I was like, y'all was questioning.
But he did everything that he was supposed to do to make sure that we got to this point as a group. And I told him day one, this is his team. He the man, and I'm gonna make sure he's the man. And when he did special things, I told him he was the man. And the journey, it's been a great journey.
Yo, what's happening, y'all? This is B Jizzle of the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Welcome to the number one LA Clipper podcast out there. We want to first give you guys a shout out, LA Clipper fan, LA Clipper Nations, for being here. Share this podcast with your family and friends. They will not be disappointed, but let's get it popping.
Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, They think I know the way. Cause I took control of things. Ballin' the solo way. And if you pattern my trend, I make you my protege. Flossing that soldier race. Niggas don't know them days. Take you in back of the buildings. Make you expose your rage. Take you across the tracks. Make you explode the face. Now you official now. But you got a soul to say. I just been cooking that note. I'm about to drop in the few. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth. I ain't really trip on the credit. I just paid all of my dues. I just respected the game. Now my name all in the news. Tripping on all of my moves. Quote me on this, got a lot more to prove. Remember I came in this bitch, fresh out the county with nothing to lose.
Nothing. No. Wanna count on you, but I don't do this shit for nothing. No, not more, not at all. You, but my money ring, that you do, so I don't do this shit for nothing.
Rolling up some good, going up till we get faded. You know how we do it. Everybody take a flex on me. I got the keys to the city. I don't need no limousine. I turn up when I pull up. And tell my booking agent book a show. Running around with the paper bag. Running around with the paper bag. Going crazy spending all this cash. Going crazy spending all this cash. If I spend it, I'ma get it back. Even when I ride around dirty, a nigga don't need a seatbelt. A nigga don't need a seatbelt. Nah, it don't cost to keep it real. Run up, get done up. Shit can get real. Fuck around and get your ass rocked. Nigga, fuck around and take your shit. Got you asking God why. Drag your ass into an alley. Pull out aim for the target. Should've never been around the killers. In my town, we the fucking realest. No cheddar bars round here. I get the spray and they gon' get down. Ski mask over my face. Catch a body in broad day. Catch a body in broad day.
I got the key to the city. I got a hold of Shadiddy. Talk to that bitch in Swahili. Tattoo my name in graffiti. Whack out your hood in graffiti. Come through your hood on the weekly. None of y'all niggas can't see me. None of y'all niggas can't see me. Y'all ain't got nothing like this over there. Bunch of frontline millionaires. Bunch of self-made after Trump paid. Guess the odds really took it there. Any problem, I'ma reappear. With a squad you already fear. All this time I've been playing fair. 7 digits every single year. Niggas die, niggas disappear. Alibis, I was really there. Life a crime till I get the chair. Columbine in my trigger hair. Still I rise and I took the stairs. Feel a fire, it's a different glare. All these fights, it was never fair. Busting knuckles, still I'm swinging fears. Taste of salt inside my dripping tears. You should know I never had a fear. You should know I never had a shot, never had a chance till I took it here. Man, it's proud, but I see it clear. Strategize, I'm an engineer. Pick a side, gotta keep it there. Switching up, nigga, looking weird. I got the key to the city. I got a hold of Shadiddy. Talk to that bitch in Swahili. Tattoo my name in graffiti. Whack out your hood in graffiti. Come through your hood on the weekly. None of y'all niggas can't see me. None of y'all niggas can't see me.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. I'm your host, Mr. BJ Matthews, aka B. Just before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos. Hit that like button as y'all come in here. hit the share, subscribe, hit that cash app, hit that $ BJ Matthews, $ BJ Matthews for all this great content that we drop to you on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. You know what I'm saying? We definitely appreciate all the love and support that y'all give to us. Continue to support the Pull Basketball Podcast, as well as get your membership badges that are available. But let's get it popping. All right, y'all. So this is another pre-recorded video. Again, this is not a live. It's a pre-recorded video. I did one on Saturday. This video is recorded before the video I just dropped this morning. So this was actually, scheduled to, release today at this time. And, I wanted to, touch on this subject because I really thought, it would be appropriate, the timing of the subject at hand that we're about to discuss. So y'all know I'm the narrative killer. That's the new nickname I'm gonna go with as far as this YouTube, podcast, media, whatever platform. I'm gonna go with the narrative killer. You got people who have certain little nicknames they talk about. They are and what they do, and of course mine's for a long time was B Jizzle. That was my nickname. That's what a lot of my family calls me, friends, things of that nature. But I decided to adapt a new name called the Narrative Killer. Now, of course, y'all know what a narrative is. Basically, it's something that has been echoed around by certain groups, communities, cliques, whatever it may be. They go with something that, they feel like, with deep into with them, they say that it's, really what they be saying. And they try to spread it for everybody else to believe the same thing. I mean, you look at sports today, many different narratives are actually, brought upon simply just off of, the TV said it, or a sports personality said it, or a media guy or media girl said it. And people, tune in onto, watching this different shows, they have no choice but to cling on to it. Well, they have a choice, but they choose to run with what the TV screen says. So in this day and age where media is very, very big and social media is very, very big, anybody can put something out, it can just be the truth. And a lot of the reason why I do this is just simply off of that. So this is another narrative I will be, killing, that I'm adding to my list. And that is Kawhi Leonard is not a leader, right? Exposing the fake narrative that Kawhi Leonard is not a leader. Now, I want y'all to sit back and enjoy this one because I think this is going to be one of my better ones. I truly believe that. I think this is going to be a video where people are going to walk away saying, wow, I didn't know that, that or that or that. And narratives really can be dangerous because it can really put a crux on somebody of who they really, a piece of what they truly are. What's some of the narratives we used to hear in the past? Well, one of them I remember growing up was hearing that Kobe Bryant was an arrogant guy. That was one of the narratives that was very popular back in my day. Right? In the early 2000s, that was one of the narratives that people ran with. Kobe Bryant was narrative, or Kobe Bryant was arrogant. But you get around him, towards the end of his career, after post-life, and you see him raised with his, his wife and his children, and, how big he was in the game of basketball growing right now. And you're completely, totally different stories, right? But for years, that was a pitch that was, very, very echoed, that Kobe Bryant was arrogant. Kobe Bryant didn't care about black people. Kobe Bryant was not for the culture. Kobe Bryant was, yada, yada, yada. And then people start figuring out and start seeing that that's not the case at all. But because, the media pretty much put it out there that they wanted a story, exposed, that was the one they went with. Kobe Bryant's arrogant. And it's no different from reading and picking up magazines and tabloids. Like, they put stuff on the front page for you to pick it up and read in stores. You're in the checkout line and you see something on the side, some crazy title, and then you just pick it up to see what's actually, you open it up and you actually see what's going on. That is the goal of people trying to sell something. When you talk about narratives and media narratives, that's what they're trying to sell you something. So it's up to you to do your own research and your own homework, or if you're blessed to actually know the person or somebody close to their family, you have that access as well. But I believe half of what the media says when I, hear something, whether it's small or big. So this one is that Kawhi Leonard is not a leader. So, as y'all know, being with the Clippers, I got a chance to, meet Kawhi Leonard, talk to him. A lot of stuff that, I post on here, I don't really get a chance to tell y'all, in plain sight, but I have been talked to Kawhi Leonard personally. I have had a chance to, have a little, chit chat with him. I know his security guard very well, see him every game, dap him up every game. We acknowledge each other, stuff like that. And just being so close to him and just being able to kind of just overhear certain things he is when he's around his security guard, seeing him get out of his, vehicle at the tunnel below the stadium where the players park their cars. I have, been able to have that type of access. So you get a chance to be up close to these people and get a chance to see what they're really about, and see how they move. You start kind of, being able to etch out the narratives. So there's something, and I don't know. Well, I know why, but I'm not so sure what people follow when they say that, Kawhi is not really a leader. Kawhi is not somebody that talks, or Kawhi Leonard is quiet, or Kawhi Leonard, didn't lead the Spurs, didn't lead the Raptors, didn't do, he's not the leader of the Clippers right now. It's a lot of different things that are being said that I'm not sure where they're coming from, other than probably people just turn on TV and listen to what Skip Bayless says, or, whatever the case may be, and they're just running with it. And I would expect a lot of people to actually be smarter than that, right? I would expect a lot of people to be a little bit more catching on to the BS when they hear something. So the clip I'll just play at the beginning was Kawhi Leonard's teammate Kyle Lowry after they won the 2019 NBA championship with the Toronto Raptors. Okay, now the Toronto Raptors, of course, was their first championship they ever won. Kawhi Leonard was the MVP, as y'all can see in the middle. Kyle Lowry's right beside him. Fred VanVleet, Serge Ibaka, Norman Powell, Danny Green, Pascal Siakam, all the, the whole crew. You had Jeremy Lin on the far right by Danny Green. OG Anunoby, who didn't play the playoffs. But this was their first championship. This is the first championship in a different country that we have ever experienced in the NBA. So this was a historic moment right here. So in that sit-down interview, you had Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry talking about the season and how it was going, and how they, had, what they had to go through, ups and downs, and just kind of pinpointing, their relationship and stuff of that nature. And as y'all heard, Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry was speaking, and he told Rachel Nichols, who was the interviewer, about, him and Kawhi's relationship. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my words out. But Kyle Lowry echoed in that soundbite that, first off, he said that, basically they trusted Kawhi. Pretty much saying that they had to basically believe in the guy who was the reason why they was able to get as far as they got. Kyle Lowry echoed saying right when he got to training camp, the first day, he said that it was his team. Kyle Lowry saying it was Kawhi Leonard's team. The first day. Why is that? Because they understood the type of player they were getting. You guys remember, Kawhi Leonard at this time was already a top 5 player. He already had been in, previous MVP discussions 2 years in a row prior before going to Toronto. In 2016 and 2017, he was already in MVP discussions with James Harden, with Russell Westbrook, with LeBron James, right? He was already in those type of discussions. Steph Curry as well. He's already a top 5 player at this time. So when you have a top 5 player of that caliber, it's automatically their team. That's the one thing. I don't think I've ever seen a player who's at that caliber. People don't think that, the team goes through them. Right? When Kevin Durant goes to a certain team, it's automatically his team. When people don't look at Kevin Durant as a rah-rah type of guy. But when he goes to a new Brooklyn Nets or a Phoenix Suns, it's automatically his team. Why is that? Because his aura of being a top 5 player for many years, top 10, if you want to, stretch it, it's already felt. Right? When certain guys go to certain teams, or when they're on certain, dynasties, everybody knows who stirs the drink. And that's what Kyle Lowry understood very early. This is his team. So let's get that out the way first. Kyle Lowry said that basically he was the man of the team. Right? Just a lot of different sentiments that are echoed that revolve around who the team goes through, who is the person that makes them finals contenders, who is the one that actually stirs the drink. I think this word leader is being a little bit it's a little bit misused. I think people get the phrase leader mixed up with a rah-rah guy mixed up with leader. That basically the leader has to be basically the loudest person in the room. Now I'm going to go into, a few videos, little audios about how, people look at that word leader and how they depict it. So I want y'all to hear where this all started with, in my personal opinion, on why this whole ridiculous sentiment that Kawhi Leonard is not a leader. I want y'all to actually hear the first audio I have of where this actually came from. It's about a 1 minute and 50-second clip. You guys get a chance to enjoy this one. All right.
So I want to play a soundbite from Pop discussing Kawhi Leonard from Saturday. Take a listen here.
Kawhi was a great player, but he wasn't the leader or anything. Manu and Patty were the leaders. So Kawhi's talent would always be missed, but that leadership wasn't his deal at that time. That may come as he progresses.
So Kawhi responded to reporters on Sunday. He said, I just heard about it. It's just funny to me because, I don't know if he's talking about last year or not, but I guess when you stop playing, they forget how you lead. And he talked a little bit more, too, about how he would try to lead by example. I'm not sure that Pop, it was a little weird because the question that Pop was asked wasn't really about Kawhi, so it was kind of strange that he went so hard on that. But I'm not even on board with it. I'm not sure Pop was taking some huge shot at Kawhi because I think it's okay to say that everybody's good at different things. No? You feel like it was a big shot?
Here's my interpretation. For all of Pop's candor, he's always very measured and selective about when he dispenses that candor, whether it's lending a moral authority to a political issue he cares about, whether it's sending a message to the league that Jaja Pachulia's actions against Kawhi in the 2017 conference finals. There's an interesting moment at the very end of that clip, which you can see on ESPN.com, where Pop almost seems to reflect on the fact that I maybe shouldn't have said it, and he says, that's all I'll say about it. I suspect this morning he regrets saying it. For one, it's a little bit of Pop. In a man of his stature in the game. And two, from a practical matter, I think it's never a good idea for management and coaches to throw out insults or shade at players, because I think the players around the league pick up on that. And I think from a practical standpoint, a franchise, it's going to have to recruit talent. And look, this isn't a big deal. And I don't disagree with you. I also like Kawhi's response where he says, hey, look, leadership can be, during a stoppage, having guys come over to you and say, hey, what do you suggest about my matchup? And I suspect Kawhi gets a fair amount of that inquiry.
All right. So now that was a short snippet. And as y'all come in and smash the like button, it's a pre-recorded video. This is not an actual live. We're exposing the false narrative of Kawhi Leonard not being a leader. All right. So I'm going to be coming back around to a few other things. But that was a soundbite of Coach Greg Popovich, who was the former coach of the San Antonio, who was the coach of the San Antonio Spurs that coached Kawhi Leonard, speaking upon basically that Kawhi Leonard was not a leader of his team. Now, I want y'all to actually see what he actually officially said, echoing what the soundbite said. It said Kawhi was a great player, but he wasn't a leader. Popovich told reporters Saturday Manu Ginobili and Patty Mills were the leaders. Kawhi's talent will always be missed, but leadership wasn't his deal at the time. That may come as he progresses. Let me move this out the way so y'all can see. Right. So the soundbite started off with Coach Pop talking about Kawhi basically not being a leader of the team. The year after he left, like I said, he left in the summer 2018? Yeah, so 2018. He left in summer 2018. This was the year after, he was dealing with that thigh contusion injury, and a lot of people looked at Kawhi Leonard as a villain because he chose to, listen to his body. So after Kawhi left, this is what Pop had to say, saying that he was a great player, but he wasn't a leader. And then Kawhi responded by saying basically he heard about it. He just said it was funny that, when he was there, he basically understood like what his role was to lead. And he said it was just, something where I guess people forget when he doesn't play. Pretty much taking a shot back at Pop, saying like, I was doing all this for you and I was basically the guy who stirred the drink and you were right there with me throughout every day. And for you to go to the, media and say that I wasn't a leader and then put it on, guys who are averaging somewhere between 7 and 10 points as if they were more important. He thought that was kind of slick, but, Kawhi basically just kind of, shrugs it off. A lot of stuff was happening at this time. If you guys don't remember, in 2018, in the summertime, this was a time when the trade was being made, a lot of turmoil in San Antonio. I remember I was living out there at the time. The whole talk was about, was Kawhi going to stay or was he going to leave? So the relationship between the Spurs and Kawhi actually, of course, grew, found, basically when Kawhi and his camp had a problem with the Spurs medical staff, basically trying to clear him to play when he wasn't ready to play. This was something that went on for an entire season. And it wasn't something that wasn't going to be resolved. It took Greg Popovich going to Kawhi Leonard personally after the season to apologize to Kawhi, and Kawhi basically said he was done. The guy who spoke in the soundbite said that Popovich was wrong for making this statement, saying that Kawhi Leonard wasn't a leader, and basically in a way taking a blindsided shot and a backhanded compliment. So you said he's not a leader, but you say he was a great talent. Okay. It's obviously where some a little bit resentment, because Kawhi Leonard chose to leave the Spurs and pretty much demanded a trade and demanded a way out. He didn't want to play there no more because he felt like the trust was broken. And there was no coming back. Kawhi's one of the type of people, once you cross him, it's pretty much, done with. There's nothing else to talk about. That's the type of person Kawhi Leonard. There's people like that. Once you cross certain people, they're not going to give you a second, third chance, especially if they ran through a wall for you, especially if they played every night with you and they actually tried to help you get a championship. There was no reconciliation in that relationship. So in the aftermath of that, to this day, Kawhi basically, or Popovich, regrets Kawhi Leonard leaving the Spurs. Right, that was his biggest, his toughest decision he ever made with the Spurs. Now keep in mind, this guy's been a coach for the Spurs for, I believe, 30 years now. The Spurs have a tradition, they have history, and this guy says that Kawhi leaving was the toughest decision he had to make 6 years ago. This was just reported. This was reported. You know what I'm saying? Basically, Popovich regrets all that would happen because he lost one of his gems. He lost the dude, and I told y'all this before. The organization of the Spurs did not fall until Kawhi left. It wasn't when Tim Duncan left or when Manu Ginobili left or Penny Mills left or Tony Parker left. It's when Kawhi Leonard left the team, and Greg Popovich knows that. That's when the Spurs started to go down once Kawhi left. They didn't make no more postseason runs. They had DeMar DeRozan for a few years. He took them to one playoff and got eliminated in the first round, I think, against the Denver Nuggets. And after that, the Spurs have been a lottery team since then. They're even a lottery team right now with the first pick with Victor Wembanyama. And Greg Popovich is right there coaching. For the last 5 years, Popovich has not been able to turn this ship around. Right? Kawhi's last season with the Spurs, they're 61-21. And this goes to another thing when you talk about leadership. I'm going to get into like the pinpoints. But the Spurs, this was their last winning season under the great Popovich with Kawhi Leonard. A top 2 seed in 2016-2017. This was the roster that they had for the most part. Kawhi, LaMarcus Aldridge, Pau Gasol, Tony Parker, Patty Mills, Mon Ginobili, Danny Green, you know what I'm saying, Jonathan Simmons, DeJounte Murray, you know what I'm saying, players like that. That was their team. So y'all could see Kawhi Leonard was the leader of this team the year after Tim Duncan retired. They were still a winning team. They were still, you know, a playoff team. And had he not gotten hurt against the Warriors, that could have been a finals appearance. This was the first year Kawhi Leonard got a chance to really build his team underneath his own realm. To be quite honest with you, the Spurs already knew he was the best player since 2015 after they won that title, to be honest with you. But as far as the offense going through him and him getting a majority of the shots, that happened between 2016 and 2017. Again, a leader is a word that's being tossed around and being misused. The way I look at a leader is somebody that stirs the drink. Are you a player that's able to completely turn a team from a playoff team to a championship team? Do you elevate the chances of your team winning the championship? Because we can talk all day about this, you know, who's the loudest in the room, who can talk, you know, with a boisterous voice. We can talk all day about that. But can you play basketball? Can you lead your team anywhere? Because if you're not leading your team anywhere, but you're just sitting up there talking, guess what that's called? That's not called leadership. That's just called noise. That's called noise. Noise. When you can't do or you can't lead your team to the promised land or, you know, give them to any success, and you up there talking like you actually, you know, accomplish something, that becomes noise. And players get annoyed by people and players like that. I'm going to show y'all another soundbite of a group of guys who play in the NBA, very well-respected Hall of Famers, who was talking about the whole Greg Popovich comments that he made and how they felt the comments were when they were directed towards Kawhi. So it was about a minute and 49-second, you know what I'm saying, soundbite. So y'all listening.
Went bad all over the place. That went bad from him getting hurt, no one understanding what's happening. Kawhi not saying anything. Kawhi's just a quiet guy. I think Pop's getting really, really frustrated. One thing I'll say about Pops, that's how Pops feels. Because when Pop doesn't want to answer a question, believe me, we've all seen him do it. Yeah. He doesn't answer a question.
That's right.
He'll say a whole bunch of nothing, but he won't answer that question. But he felt like that. And I will say one thing. As a coach, you know, there's two types of leadership. As a coach, you really like the verbal guys that take your message and throw it out there. But as a player, you know what I like?
Yeah.
The leadership guys.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
When coach
See,
looking,
I couldn't agree more, Chris. I was like, man, you know, I played with a just do it guy. Larry didn't say a whole bunch. Everything he did say, I couldn't repeat on his show. And but he went out there and did it. You know, Robert Parrish was quiet, but Robert went out and did it. So, you know, with those guys, as a player, following them was easy because they just went out and did it, but they weren't verbal. And as a coach, sometimes, man, hey, you give your best rah-rah speeches. Yeah. You know, you've been there. You need some guy to go up and go, yeah, you know, this is what we, you know, this is what we need. And Kawhi is not doing that, I promise you. So Pops is looking at this just strictly from a coach's lens, not from a player's lens. If he was a player's lens, he would say, man, that guy led by example.
You know what leadership is to me? Kawhi, will you go get us a stop and guard the best player?
Amen.
I got him.
Did he do that every time?
I agree.
And so I just don't like that because we know how people try to set narratives on you. And the more you win, the more your word goes and you can set a narrative. And I really think that's unfair. That's why I'm glad that we're in the media to be able to call out stuff like this because we've been in that situation. I love Pop and he's a great coach. But to say a guy wasn't there for leadership, he was your best defender, helped transfer the game, listened.
All right. So as y'all come in and smash that like button. Smash that like button as y'all come in here. So those were two NBA Hall of Famers and Kevin McHale and Chris Webber. Kevin McHale, of course, has had 3 championships with the Boston Celtics with Larry Bird. And you got Chris Webber, who is a Hall of Famer in his own right, one of the best power forwards of all time. Played, you know, in the 2000s or 96. 90 was it 96 or 92? 92. To I think 2000 and was it 8 or something like that to the mid 2000s. One of the best, you know, power forwards in Chris Webber. So again, when you look at a couple things, first they echoed the comments of, and I say that I'm talking about Kevin McHale, echoed the comments of Greg Popovich. Now, both of them know Greg Popovich, it seems like, very well, and they basically, automatically spoke about how Greg Popovich was feeling. Basically, he was frustrated, and I definitely agree with that statement. What is he talking about when he was frustrated? Basically, like he said, Kawhi Leonard is quiet when he wants to be quiet, which I'm going to bring up in a minute what that means. But when that situation was going on with the Spurs, Greg Popovich had it in his mind to try to somehow mind control Kawhi Leonard and do little tactics to get him to talk. What am I talking about? He tried to get Kawhi Leonard to talk with that secret meeting, if you guys don't remember, where Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, basically were people that Greg Popovich sent for Kawhi Leonard to get him to speak about his injury, and that basically had a negative effect. That actually had a negative reaction. No one said what the meeting was extremely about, but Danny Green, who was a teammate of Kawhi, said basically it was just teammates talking about trying to get some understanding, right? But in my personal opinion, I think that Kawhi Leonard did not really like to be cornered and be interrogated like that off of an injury, right? Tony Parker, if you guys don't remember, said in an interview that Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker's injury was 100 times worse than Kawhi Leonard's injury, which was a thigh contusion. Basically, there was already a lot of speculation that Kawhi Leonard wasn't being truthful about the injury, how serious it was, because the Spurs already had cleared him to play, but he's saying to himself he's not ready to play. He started off playing 9 games in that 17-18 season, and he just couldn't go anymore. And he missed the rest of the year. So throughout the rest of that season, the Spurs are trying to get into the playoffs and try to get past the first round, this, that, and the other. And no Kawhi Leonard. And here's another thing too. Since these guys were the leaders, and I'm talking about Tony Parker and Patty Mills and Manu Ginobili, why in the hell could they not make any noise about Kawhi Leonard? And don't give me that whole he's the just because you're not the best player don't mean you're not the leader. That is overused. Another thing. For you to be a leader, you have to have some type of impact on the game. Name the guy who is the leader of a real sports successful team who doesn't play. Again, I'm going to ask the question. In a sports environment like basketball, name the team who's successful and wins who their leader does not play and not one of their best players. I can keep going with example after example, really showing you guys who really stirs the drink in every situation. With the Spurs, yes, Manu Ginobili and Patty Mills and Tony Parker have been there. They are the Spurs culture. There was a point which they were the leaders of the team, especially when Kawhi Leonard was, coming into the league and came into the team. And I think that's where a lot of people get this, mixed up. I think people still think that Kawhi Leonard is still that quiet guy who, like a lot of players, don't really say much. I think a lot of people still think he's that same dude from the Spurs, that same 21, 22-year-old guy who just doesn't talk or very mute or, tends to stick to himself. Yeah, by nature, Kawhi Leonard is not really he's not going to walk into a room and just start yelling and screaming. That's not who he's not a Westbrook. He's not, somebody's just going to try to make the attention put upon himself. But he's not no damn robot by any means. He's not some person that just doesn't talk or he's mute or whatever the case. He's not that either. He's just simply a guy who fills the room out. He don't want to know, where he's at. He's very aware of his surroundings. And he chooses when to talk. But yes, when you talk about and compare a guy who came onto a team with a bunch of vets who are in their mid to late 30s, like a Tim Duncan, like a Tony Parker, like a Manu Ginobili, when you compare that to a kid who's already 21, 22, what are they actually going to really be talking about? What is there actually to talk about? What is there actually to conversate about? That's like a 14, 15-year age gap right there. There's not much he's going to be able to tell him because basically he's still coming onto the scene. He's trying to make his own way. So you think he was going to be trying to talk and try to, lead guys who's won championships? He's still trying to create his own career. Now, when 2017 hit and Tim Duncan left, then it became Kawhi's team for real. And when it was his team for real, they was able to have a 60-game win. So that shows you that they was able to still have success when it was just Kawhi, and that's all that matters. And that's why Greg Popovich says what he says, that the trade that landed Kawhi Leonard 6 years ago was the toughest decision he had to make because they have not had any success since he left. Greg Popovich was upset, and he was very, I won't even say bitter, but more so, he was heartbroken because he knew what he lost. Which could possibly, next to Tim Duncan, be the greatest Spur that ever played. He allowed his Machiavellian tactics and his, drill sergeant tactics to try to act like Kawhi was like every other player that came to the Spurs. That he was just going to fall in line and start, doing as the coach says and fall for his tricks, thinking that he was going to somehow come around when he never did, when he felt more insulted. You got to remember the Spurs have a lot of these international players who think different than these American black players. Kawhi Leonard, Steven Jackson, DeJounte Murray, those players didn't really buck to the Spurs system. It's a different culture. You can't treat everybody the same. And then he goes to next season to win a championship with the Raptors. It's like you got slapped twice. You got slapped when you basically thought you could take advantage of a guy and actually try to manipulate him. Then you got backhanded when he goes the next year and wins a championship for the only franchise championship they ever won. Good almighty. The only championship the franchise ever won was in the same hands of the guy that you traded. That's a decision that you made. That's called destiny. And Kyle Lowry, like he said in the beginning of the clip, was not the leader of the team. The Raptors were a laughing stock. They made it to one conference finals, and that conference finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers, they got swept. All this nonsense that all Kawhi Leonard had to do was just go to the Raptors and play his game. They won, as if he was just somebody that was just around. It's complete nonsense. The guy that they traded him for suffered from depression, which was DeMar DeRozan. They were not going to win a championship under that. They needed somebody to calm down and actually put them in a poised mindset. DeMar DeRozan didn't have that, and neither did Kyle Lowry. If y'all remember Kyle Lowry, the guy that people were trying to make was the leader. The season before, or was it in 2016? A couple of seasons before, when they were getting basically destroyed by the Cavaliers, there was a famous game too where Kyle Lowry had to go back to the locker room during the stretch of a game, very important stretch of the game, and decompress. Basically had to calm himself down because of the pressure of how much it was in the playoffs. Right here, the headline said Kyle Lowry walks back to the locker room during the game to decompress, faces criticism. I remember this. Let's read. Ended up during one of the most critical stretches of the game, and Lowry just walked off, not injured, not followed by training staff, just by himself. Lowry was criticized on the ESPN broadcast for it, while the NBA Twitter reaction ranged from confused to ripping him in parentheses, online, this combined with former Lowry mentor Tyronn Lue, how ironic, saying Lowry wanted to get together with him Wednesday to watch the Thunder's war game led to a lot of questioning of Lowry's priorities and toughness. So stop right there. So basically, this is the person that people are trying to make it as he led the Raptors to a championship. But meanwhile, he needs to go back into the locker room and decompress for a playoff game, which they actually lost this game because that happened during an important game time of the stretch. This whole Kyle Lowry was a leader. I think y'all should be a little bit more careful type of waters you're actually trying to, go into when you say that. Because if you're going to go at guys like Paul George, who had a bad performance in a bubble where the circumstances were very dire, if you're going to take shots at his mental, why would you not do the same with Kyle Lowry, but yet you want to call him a leader? Leader, what was he leading the Raptors to? What was DeMar DeRozan leading the Raptors to? And if they were so championship ready, what were they doing before Kawhi Leonard got there? Why couldn't they do anything before Kawhi Leonard got there? And why couldn't they do anything when he left? See, all these places I'm trying to give y'all, when he's there, they somehow seem to be a top championship team. And when he leaves, they completely flummox. I.e. the San Antonio Spurs. The Toronto Raptors win a championship. This first year he gets there, he leaves. They can't make it past the first round outside of 1 year and 4 seasons. 2019 was the last time, and they made it one time. They had Pascal Siakam still there. He just got traded. They had Kyle Lowry there up until I think 2022. Right? They had OG Anunoby there. They had Fred VanVleet there. They had all these guys still there from that championship team. Why could they not get anything accomplished until after number 2 left? If they were already championship ready, they're already championship made, how the hell do they get worse? And I'm not talking about by a little bit where they just made it to the conference finals. They completely went from first year in the bubble, they win the first series against Philadelphia. And then after that, they didn't do shit. Play in, not making the playoffs. And they have 4 or 5 years of this. So you can't say that he just need to go there and play basketball when the team he just left can't seem to function when he's not around. Or they function, but it's obviously a big dip. So Kyle Lowry, like he said, it was Kawhi Leonard's team. The Raptors experienced something that they never had when they got Kawhi Leonard on that team, and that was a certain calmness. What a leader is able to do is calm the storm down in an advertised situation. When adversity hits, you have to have a certain level of calmness. And your teammates need to know that there's a certain level of calmness in certain situations, because the Raptors never had that. They had their 2 guys that had to go back to the back and decompress, right, in the locker room. No disrespect to Kyle Lowry, but for people to say that he was the leader of the team when they didn't have no success with him, quote unquote, doing the leadership, and they didn't have no success after Kawhi left, for him to say that he was the leader of the team and they were not leading him to any type of success, like, what are we talking about? Are you just saying that just to, basically because he's allowed, or he's somehow gives this type of aura that he's just, quote unquote alpha male or whatever? Or are you just doing that to take credit away from Kawhi? I think it's the second one. See, that's why I tell y'all, when you talk about, you got to be careful with backhanded compliments. When somebody says he had to just go there and play ball and not do anything else, you're basically saying that anybody can do it. Well, why ain't nobody did it then? He won a championship without a second star. That's the whole reason he went to the Clippers in the first place. Because even with him, he understood that he needed another star to be able to get to the promised land. Of course, he signed with Paul George. Right? Now, here we go again, that Kawhi Leonard is not the leader of the team. The leader of the team is Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook's an all-time great player. He's an all-time great point guard. You know, probably the most athletic point guard we've ever seen. His aura, of course, is more so his personality. Is very loud. And I think people get leadership and personality mixed up. Just because you yell and scream and you bang your head and stuff like that, don't make you a leader. It's like Kevin McHale and Chris Webber said. The coaches want that type of aura. The players enjoy guys who just do it and talk when they need to talk. That's the type of thing that we like as players. Because again, there's a certain thing when you don't win and you keep talking, you keep on trying to chirp, which becomes noise. I'm sorry, Russell Westbrook has not won a championship. He has not been an all-star since 2000 and was it 2000 and I can't remember last time Russ been an all-star. Was it 2021 when he's with the Wizards? Yeah, I think that's when the last time he's an all-star. And all of it just, predicated to his stats. But with his years in OKC and his years after with the Wizards and Houston, when you ask for Russell Westbrook to be your best player and be your leader, you're not getting past the first round, maybe the second round. You're not getting past that. So again, with these people who are quote unquote leaders because they have a colorful personality or something, how much of a badge of honor it is for a guy who's quote unquote the leader but can't seem to get his team anywhere. I thought we were here to win. Another quote from a leader. A leader, at least a good one, knows how to win. Wherever he goes, does he make an impact? Do they become a contender? Right? Do you elevate your team? That goes into leadership. The great players of any sport, and I don't understand why this just comes with Kawhi. When you have a guy who's able to lead your team to multiple championships or multiple playoff appearances or what may have you, I don't understand how that player is not the most important player or not the leader, quote unquote. Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, guys who win, I don't understand can't be the leaders of the team. Which brings me to something else with this whole Kawhi Leonard doesn't talk. So, of course, one of his other teammates, Patrick Beverly, is a very close friend of Kawhi Leonard, even to this day. He used to play with the Clippers, as y'all know. Pat Bev, one of the best Clipper players that we've had as far as on the defensive end. I love Pat Bev. You know what I'm saying? I miss him a lot. They have a relationship, Pat Bev and Kawhi Leonard. So he spoke a little bit about what Kawhi Leonard is off the screen in the media and how people get things misconstrued of how he really actually is. So y'all take a listen to this 1 minute clip of Patrick Beverly. Here we go.
Kawhi Leonard.
Is he as weird as he seems?
No.
He's another guy. He seems like a weirdo.
No. I'm talking about like you would fucking love him. Calls it exactly how it is. He doesn't like to talk much because people gonna, if he was the type to say a lot of words, people would gauge like any little thing he say there and make it real big. So he just choose not to talk. But that motherfucker does talk. He talk a little bit too much too. So
he does. So if you tell a joke, he's capable of laughing.
No. He's the one telling the jokes. No, he's the type of guy you come, oh, cheers, Kawhi, champagne. There you go, my boy, drinking on that devil's juice. Like he's
there's the clip though of Kawhi, him and Ibaka in the car after the parade, and you can't see his hands, but it looked like he was rolling something up. I'm not trying to put smut on his name or anything like that, but it looked like
I think that was something from the championship trophy that he had.
Okay, just the trophy was a little bit sticky or something.
They trying to throw shots out, saying Kawhi smoking that weed. But that was Pat Bell speaking on Kawhi. Basically, his comments surrounded about who Kawhi Leonard actually is, vice versa, compared to what people think he is, and that's where we keep going wrong. We have to stop trying. We have to stop trying to put hats on people that they don't fit on. Right? And I get it. People, when they don't know somebody or don't know the person, the only natural thing for them to do is to speculate. And they can only go by what they, resources they have. I get that. But there's been plenty of people that's came out and said Kawhi Leonard is not this quiet, robotic dude. And Patrick Beverly reemphasized it again. He gave an example of, what he'll do, like, the whole champagne, saying analogy, or, him saying that Kawhi chooses not to talk. So it's a difference between a guy who chooses not to talk and a guy who just is too afraid to talk. I know y'all have heard Kawhi Leonard talk on the court. I know y'all have heard Kawhi Leonard players talk about his leadership. I mean, there's plenty of, you just got to look it up for yourself. Plenty of people, plenty of players who've said that Kawhi Leonard is not this, not this robot that just doesn't speak to nobody. We heard Paul George on the podcast, him and Terrence Mann speak about it, the whole practice analogy, just how funny he is, how he likes to tell jokes, how he's somebody that comes off as, as a jokester. I don't know how many times people have had to say that about him. I've even seen that with Kawhi Leonard, him being a jokester. I'll give y'all a quick story. So I'm at the game, I don't know if it's the first time I met Kawhi. No, it wasn't the first time. It was probably like, towards, later in the season. But like I said, I see him every game for the most part. He comes out the tunnel with his security guard. He comes back into the tunnel. He stops to, sign autographs here and there. I get a chance to see him underneath the tunnel in the building where he parks his cars and stuff like that. When he's, warming up on the court, I'm kind of over there as well. I'm just kind of where everyone in the arena for the most part. But you run into these guys quite frequently. So Kawhi, where I'm dapping him up right there, as he's walking from there to there, I guess one of the security guard ladies or one of the ladies who, section is right by where the players come out and come in, where Kawhi, like he's walking back towards. The lady said, it was this black lady, this older black lady. She was joking, I guess, with one of the fans who was like kind of right, by the tunnel, like where that white lady is. She was joking, telling her, man, I wish I could be at the game to, do this, that, and the other. And Kawhi Leonard looked back and he said, "You already at the game." And then then that's when I don't think he heard it, but she heard it, but I did, and I started laughing. Another instance where Kawhi Leonard was signing an autograph, and this Asian dude was scared to talk to him. I asked him, go ahead and ask for an autograph, you know what I'm saying, because Kawhi Leonard's walking right past him. But I told him, when he walks up to you, don't get scared, because he's not gonna really say much. He's gonna, just you ask him for an autograph, he's not gonna really say anything to you right away. And then Kawhi was walking towards him, and I guess he put his ball out. He put his, his Sharpie out. He gave it to Kawhi, and Kawhi was just kind of staring at him the whole time. And basically just, you know what I'm saying, just kind of, you know, giving him that stare look. So stuff like that, he does just basically trying to, I guess, trying to mask what he really wants to say, kind of what Patrick Beverly says. But he's not this quiet, robotic dude at all. I mean, he understands he understands bullshit. Of course, he's been through a lot of bullshit with people, especially. I'm pretty sure even in his life that he's not really too open, unless you know you really got a connection with him. But once you get a connection with him, once he sees that you know, actually ain't on BS, and you actually, you know what I'm saying, ain't some type of, you know, person that's trying to, you know, get over on him, he's actually really, really down to earth. Like, you ever heard the phrase, you know, you're my enemy, you're my friend, and you to my enemy? Well, he's the type, he goes by, you're my enemy until you're my friend. So basically, he's gonna test how you are. First of all, you have to probably kind of be around him a certain, you know, amount of times before you actually start saying, you know, what's up to you, or he might want to holler at you or something like that. That's how he is. You know, I know people that, you know, the trainer that actually works out with him, his name is Chad Bell. I had him on the show I think last year. He was the guy that actually worked out with Kawhi, and he spoke about how Kawhi Leonard was off the court. Very cool. Listens to music, likes rap music, likes, you know what I'm saying, you know, tell jokes. He loves to, you know, eat Wingstop, things of that nature. I mean, just a, you know, down to earth dude. It's kind of hard to really describe who I'll compare him to, but that whole narrative, he doesn't talk, it just, you know, completely falls. Back to the subject at hand. With the leadership, I don't see how a person isn't a leader when they win everywhere they go, and when they leave, the team actually plummets in his absence. I don't understand how a guy is not a leader when the team starts with him and ends with him. And the same people who say he's not a leader are the same ones that say if Kawhi Leonard doesn't get it done, it's his fault. It's going to be a asterisk against his legacy. He's going to get the blame if they lose. So if he's going to get the blame if they lose, who the hell gets the credit if they win? If he gets the blame when they lose, who the hell gets the credit when they win? I completely agree with a person saying that Kawhi Leonard has to get it done, or else he's not. It's going to be a black check mark against his legacy. But you can't turn around and say he didn't need to do this, he didn't need to do that on a championship team who didn't accomplish shit until he got there. That's not how it works. Either he gets full blame or full credit. You don't take a test and say that, well, you took the test and you failed. Oh, it's your fault. You need to study harder. But then you could take that same test and you ace it. Oh, it's because of the tutor. She did this, he did that. The majority of credit is going to go to the person who did the work. Not, well, he came there to the team and he just had to play. And this is the only person we use this nonsense with is him. And I have a theory why I think it is. You know, Kawhi Leonard is the same guy. Like I tell y'all, he's the guy that, you know, beat your favorite players. He beat Luka Doncic. He beat Steph Curry. He beat LeBron James. He's beating Kevin Durant. He's beating Joel Embiid. You know what I'm saying? He beats your favorite players. The only person he ain't really beat, which I hope he gets that opportunity, is Nikola Jokic. And LeBron has beat him too when he was younger. Of course, it was his second year, right? Then second year of his career, I think LeBron was in his 11th or 12th. LeBron beat him, but I mean, whatever. And then Kevin Durant beat him, you know, early on in his career too. But what I'm saying is that there's a bigger reason why they use this only against him. That he can go out there and win and stir the drink everywhere he goes, but yet he doesn't get the credit of being the guy who led the team. And even when his teammates tell people out loud who it ran through. Now the narrative is Russell Westbrook's the leader. Man, the moment Kawhi Leonard leaves this team is the moment that the Clippers are not a serious contender. If that's not leadership, I don't know what is. But that concludes this show. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I want y'all to listen to one last soundbite of what Kawhi Leonard said about leadership and his leadership style. And you guys, we're going to go ahead and end it right there. But definitely appreciate y'all coming through. And y'all hit the like button as y'all in. Pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull it out. Peace. Out of here like swimwear.
How do you envision your role on this team starting up?
Everything I did before, bringing it on the offensive end, defensive end, being a leader, letting guys know what to do on the court, and just keep pushing them and bringing energy. We're building a new team this year.
I'm feeling good, feeling alright tonight. I'm feeling good now. Yeah, it's all good in the neighborhood, homie. Yeah, living right. I feel good, I feel alright. Cruising through my neighborhood on a warm summer night. I feel good. That's right, I feel good now. Summer nights, summer days just sitting around, but when the sun goes down, I'll be ready to party. Them summer nights, keep the top on drop. All the girls looking hot, hit the photo and we just don't stop. Party until the morning light. Ain't nothing like them summer nights. I just kicked it at home. I polished up the chrome, called the Ruka on the phone, let her know I'm home alone. It's 7:30 and the sun's going down. It's a summer night and the fun's going down. I pick her up and she looks all dolled up, sitting passenger in my rag and Paula. Yeah, I let her know that she looks beautiful to me. The world's an ugly place, but she is such a sight to see. The kind of woman that would put up a fight for me. The kind that wants to spend the summer nights with me. The temp was 80 and I'm cruising with my lady, playing some Rafi Bagan. Ooh, baby, baby. I see my homeboys and the cruising in the ride. Hey, what's up, with their ladies sitting by their side. People think we look crazy, but I think we look classy. But then again, that's only if you ask me. Summer days just sitting around, but when the sun goes down, I'll be ready to party. Ain't nothing like them summer nights. Keep the top on drop, all the girls looking hot, hit the photo and we just don't stop. Party until the morning light. Ain't nothing like them summer nights. My homeboys throwing the backyard boogie, so everybody gets together to unwind, relax, and have a fun time. The DJ spinning, so I grab the mic and be like, ain't nothing like them summer nights. The party's packed with beautiful women and the gang of the homies that wanna get with them. And they'll say anything just to hit them. And it's usually a nice summer night when they did them. I don't know, it must be something in the air. Can't help but have a good time because the feeling is there. To some people, the feeling is rare. They're at the past saying, God damn, I wish I was there. To have a drink, have a token, hook up with someone fine, but the kind that looks up. Gotta keep some peace though in the cup. Party until the sun comes up, but we give up. Summer days just sitting around, but when the sun goes down, I'll be ready to party. Ain't nothing like them summer nights. Keep the top on drop, all the girls looking hot, hit the photo and we just don't stop. Party until the morning light. Them summer nights can keep a smile on your face. Gotta try to have a good time with your life, otherwise it's just a waste. Either way, I'm gonna party just in case. Like Prince partied like it was 99 and 87, 88. I couldn't ask for no better weather. I'm right next to the Pacific, to be specific. The candy paint job glows under the moonlight as I close out my summer night and say goodnight. It's time to put the top up and park it, drop it, unplug the ground, roll up the windows and lock it. Fuck in the pad and fall into bed as she lays on my chest to rest her sleepy head. And we do this all night long from dusk till dawn, but it's not quite the same when summer nights are gone. But even when they're gone, it won't be long. 8 more months and once again it's on. Summer days just sitting around, but when the sun goes down, I'll be ready to party. Ain't nothing like them summer nights. Keep the top on drop, all the girls looking hot, hit the photo and we just don't stop. Party